This is your ultimate stop for everything sports. The Golden State Media Concepts Sports Podcast. Should I say more? From the NFL, MLB, the NBA to MMA, it's all in here. The Golden State Media Concepts Sports Podcast. Listen now.
Thank you for listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Sports Podcast, where Alex and I discuss the latest and greatest news in the world of sports.
Hey, I'm Alex. That's me.
That is you.
What's up, guys?
There you go again. They can't answer you.
I can hear them.
Only on your headphones.
Thanks.
All right, so today we're going to be breaking down Andrew Luck's historic contract that he signed yesterday, Indianapolis Colts quarterback. We're going to move into our future segments. Going to talk a little bit about the big blockbuster trade in the NHL featuring P.K. Subban and Shea Weber, as well as a player for the Tampa Bay Lightning that signed a new contract. Free agency starting up for hockey pretty soon. And then we're going to end the show with some quick trending stories about people like The Rock, Perry Ellis, Zlatan Ibrahimovic, and a minor league baseball team that is having some interesting jerseys, Alex, the West Michigan Whitecaps.
I was just waiting for you to say. I love minor league baseball team names. Like, they're just the weird, like the Richmond Flying Squirrels.
Really? I know the Las Vegas 51s. I love that one.
Like the Aces. See, minor leagues, like AAA is not bad. You have the River Cats, you have the Grizzlies, you have the Aces, you have the 51s. But when it gets to like AA, and like I said, the Giants AA affiliate
they go all out.
Is the Richmond Flying Squirrels.
That's great. I like that.
Do you?
We'll talk about the minor league baseball teams a little later in the show.
All right.
We're leading off with Andrew Luck. Signed yesterday a 6-year, $140 million deal, 87 guaranteed. Those are both records. Alex, what do you think of the deal?
That's a pretty penny, you know?
Oh.
That's quite a bit of money.
Is Andrew worth the luck of the contract?
Nah, you could have done better than that, man.
That was okay. That was all right.
I think he's worth this deal when he's healthy. Jim Irsay did promise it would be a shocking contract when he signed him. So, yeah, it was that's why it wasn't pretty shocking yesterday, actually, because we expected it. But, yeah, $140 million over 6 years, $47 million guaranteed.
Right away.
$23.3 million average over the life of the contract. Yeah, Luck played well. He played bad last year, but that team and him, he was hurt. He
got banged up. That offensive line.
He lacerated his spleen, man.
That offensive line was terrible. Mm-hmm. He got hit every single game until he was finally knocked out.
Yeah, he lacerated his kidney, and he had shoulder issues, but he's playing somewhat generally kind of poorly already. But I think when he's healthy, yeah, he's your franchise player. What I did see also is they did structure it so that it wouldn't hinder their ability to sign other players.
That seems like that always happens. So
they said they did the same thing with Peyton, and they got lucky in that sense that Andrew is in the same kind of cut, same kind of mold, because he wanted to do what was best for the team at the same time. So I think it's a deal that's very worth it for him. I think it's a good deal for the franchise. Like we said, it's not anything that's going to hinder the franchise for a long time. Andrew, like I said, he does deserve it. He's been sixth in the NFL from 2012 to 2014 in passing yards. And that's a lot of good players in that span, a lot of good quarterbacks. He's made the playoff all of his first 3 seasons, of course, excluding last year being his 4th season. But again,
he was injured.
Hurt. Yeah, he did promise to be more careful with his body, with the plan to slide more often when he runs out of the pocket. He's very good at sliding, too. Very good at sliding. And he's not exactly a slow guy. I remember when he was with
Stanford. He's really mobile.
Yeah, he's a powerful runner, too. I remember when he was with Stanford, and I forget who they were playing. I think it was SC, and he was running the ball, and he didn't go down. He just ran through the guy instead. Like, he just gave him a shoulder. Or he threw an interception to Cal, I think, and he went and tackled the guy, and he laid him out. He's just a guy that, like, in Pee Wee probably played 10 positions, you know?
Yeah, he was definitely a versatile guy. When I look at Andrew Luck, you mentioned definitely worth the contract. I would agree. I think the one thing besides the injury concerns that Luck needs to sort of work on is his turnovers. He's thrown a lot of interceptions, fumbled the ball a lot in his first 4 years. That's the one knock I have on Andrew Luck. Because I think when you look at Andrew Luck, really with any team's quarterback, it's really one of the most valuable positions. Look at the Packers. If Aaron Rodgers is gone, they're not even a playoff team.
I was talking about that the other day, yeah.
Right, so I think when you look at Andrew Luck, he's definitely the most valuable player on that team. They win 2 games when Peyton Manning goes out with injury. They draft Andrew Luck, and they're already a playoff team within the first year. Relatively the same team. All they really added was T.Y. Hilton that year and Andrew Luck. So Andrew Luck definitely worth this contract. I think it's more so he is considered by most the best young quarterback, the future of the NFL. Like if you were to draft a guy for the next 10 years, it would be Luck. So I think that's plays into his factor there, but I think more so it's really a play on the market. Because every year, think about it, this is the record deal.
Yeah.
It's not going to be record for long because someone's going to break within the next couple of years when their quarterback is up.
When Cam Newton needs a new deal or...
Yeah, Cam Newton just signed it a couple of years ago, and $103 million looks like maybe a bargain now for
like,
Cam.
Whoa, yeah, and maybe he's sitting at a bargain. When I don't think it'll surpass Luck's, but when Russell Wilson needs a new deal, plenty of quarterbacks are going to need some deals. And,
so I think more so it's basically a look on the market because every year it goes up and up. You had Rodgers and you had Flacco. Now you have all these guys. Like even in my opinion, the average, I'd say Ryan Tannehill, he's probably an average quarterback. He's making about $14 to $15 million a year.
Yeah.
Teams like the Rams, the Eagles are giving up everything but the kitchen sink to get a quarterback. The Eagles looks like they're not even going to have Carson Wentz active this whole year. And yet
I don't know about that.
Well, the reports are that that's what they're planning to do.
I mean, they want him to sit, yeah, and I think that's
so. I
smart.
mean, if they're willing to give up everything to get a guy they're not going to play this year, that shows how valuable a good, successful quarterback is. So I think it's more so a play on the market, but also he's earned it. One of 4 guys to throw for over 100 touchdowns in his first 4 years. Russell Wilson being one, Dan Marino being one, and Peyton being one.
Yeah,
he's definitely worth it. Led them to the playoffs his first 3 years when he was healthy.
Yeah.
He just needs to really, in my opinion, cut down the turnovers. You mentioned slide more, not get injured. They tried to rebuild that offensive line. They drafted, in the first round, they drafted a center, I believe. So
Ryan Kelly.
Right, so they're working on the offensive line, trying to do everything they can to help Andrew, and now they're helping him with his pocketbook. What do you think is the first thing he's going to buy?
He's just kind of a weird, like a regular guy, He
doesn't even have, he has a flip phone.
There you go. See,
he has a flip phone. The same phone he's had since 6th grade.
So I'm saying
he still has that phone.
He's just a regular fella, man. He's probably going to buy like some slacks.
He kind of reminds me in this way of Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi Leonard drives like a 2001 like Dodge, I think.
Giovanni Bernard drove his mom's van to most of his rookie games in like the stadium and stuff. All through his rookie year when he was on Hard Knocks. Yeah, he drove actually, it was his girlfriend's mom's van.
And Kawhi Leonard cuts coupons out of magazines and newspapers.
Hey man, you can make as much money as you want.
Andrew Luck reminds me of that. Like he's like you said, he's just a normal guy who happens to be playing football.
Yeah, you can make as much money as you want. You're not gonna change the Savers mentality.
Exactly. And Andrew Luck's one of those guys. He has a flip phone still, but Andrew Luck worth it. What do you think of the Colts this year?
I think as long as he stays healthy, they have a shot at the playoffs. They do. They have every year with him. It's like Peyton. He had the one bad year, and then he didn't miss the playoffs for years. So and like you were saying too, with how valuable quarterbacks are. You look at teams like the Packers and the Steelers and the Seahawks. Probably you look at teams like a good example, the Colts. Obviously the Texans for the most part, probably not as much, but they lose these quarterbacks and. Matt Flynn was serviceable when he took over for Aaron Rodgers at times. Landry Jones / Mike Vick were serviceable last year. Matt Hasselbeck had a couple good game stretches, but they're not these quarterbacks, and you really see the dip in the production from them in that. So yeah, you absolutely see the valuable asset that Luck is to the team. So yeah,
definitely
deserves it.
In what most people would say a weak division, but I feel like a division that's getting a lot better. I think Jacksonville's done a lot of good things.
We've talked about Jacksonville so many times on
Tennessee with Mariota, now you have DeMarco Murray, Derrick Henry. They look like they're moving in the right direction. And Houston with a great defense. We'll have to see what Osweiler does. But yeah, I think Luck, he's worth every penny of it. And good for Andrew. He earned it. So.
Yeah, I say it's just lucky timing for him. Anyway, so we're gonna take a quick break here. Speaking of timing, at the Golden State Media, thank you, Golden State Media Concepts Sports Podcast. Don't go anywhere, guys. We'll be right back after this word from our sponsor.
Tired of searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. Hey! The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch. Whatever it may be. Visit us at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
Welcome back here to the Golden State Media Concepts Sports Podcast. No 6-shooters for Alex that time because he's on his phone looking at interesting pictures of John Cena and Blink-182 sounds. So some more quick breaking news before we jump into our next segment. Jets defensive lineman Sheldon Richardson suspended 1 game for violating the NFL's personal conduct policy. And the next one,
you want some of this.
What?
So you want 1 game. How about 4?
Then I was jumping into that next.
I know.
I think it's really not going to matter because I don't think this guy is going to be on a team probably ever again. But Johnny Manziel suspended 4 games for violating the NFL's substance abuse policy.
I mean, which time?
Manziel, when I look at Manziel on the field, he wasn't great, but he wasn't terrible. He was okay.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say he's a starter.
I'm not a fan of him.
But he's just thrown his life away.
Yeah, I'm definitely not a fan of Johnny Manziel by any means, on any definition of the word, I would say.
I'm honestly just tired of talking about him.
That's what I told Jeremiah on our football podcast, GSMC football podcast.
I'm just tired of Manziel. So he's suspended 4 games by the NFL. Like I said, I don't think it really matters because I don't think he'll even see 1 more game ever again in the league. I don't see any team willing to take a risk on Manziel. But, it is what it is.
Not anytime soon. Especially not in the first 4 games.
I don't see ever.
I'm not trying. I'm with you on that, man.
Yeah.
I'm with you on that. All right, moving from football to an equally as physical sport, hockey. We do have some news of a trade, of a blockbuster of sorts. Ben, what do we got here?
Yeah, breaking blockbuster trade that happened yesterday. So the Montreal Canadiens and the Nashville Predators basically exchanged 2 of the top defensive men in the league.
Yeah, back just 2-2, just switched them.
So PK Subban from Montreal Canadiens is now going over to Nashville in exchange for Shea Weber going to Montreal.
Yeah, and that's not the only parts of that either. Is Taylor Hall is involved as well as Adam Larson.
Who do you think this trade benefits more? I think it benefits more. I think it benefits Nashville more because Subban's a younger player. He's 27 as opposed to Weber, who's 31. So there is a 4-year age cushion there. Mm-hmm. We mentioned, obviously, 2 of the top defensemen in the league. So
yeah, and they're both pretty good, but you did say, Subban's younger. I think it in the long run, I think it benefits Nashville. I think it benefits the Predators a little bit more. The GM of Nashville said he figured what the heck, given all the trade rumors about Subban recently, that he just walked over to the Canadiens, Mark Bergevin, at the draft. He's like, "You want him? What do you offer me?"
Interesting way to look at him.
Yeah, he said, "What the heck? See what I can get for the guy." So, good young player, like you said, only 27 years old. He's got a lot of hockey left in him. He's a real game changer, So, as for the other blockbuster, I was saying, the dealing of Taylor Hall to the New Jersey Devils for defenseman Adam Larson. So
there you go.
That's also something that happened this week. Oiler fans not super. No, sorry, they are super excited. Excuse me, flip that around. The Oiler fans are pretty hyped up to go ahead and get Adam Larson there. So some wheeling and dealing. Now there was a signing as well in the NHL.
Yes, the NHL Free Agency is getting ready to start. Ironically, around the same as the NBA Free Agency. I believe it is July 1st, which both of them will be starting.
Mm-hmm.
But one guy who will not be a free agent is Steven Stamkos. So he re-signed with the Lightning just yesterday as well. He's going to be making about $8.5 million a year, signing an 8-year deal. It seems like this always happens in the NHL. They sign these guys to like 12-year, 14. Like, I don't understand that.
Well,
I realize a lot of it's not really guaranteed as well.
Yeah.
So you can obviously like when your time's up, you can cut them. But why even throw that number out there?
I don't know. It's weird the way they set it up. In relation, I have a 2-year deal here for $4 million for the Wild. They are re-signing Jason Zucker, left wing there for the Wild. He's only 24 years old. He played a career-high 71 games last year. Like I said, that's $2 million over 2 years. But a little bit longer of a deal for one more signing here is the Blue Jackets have signed defenseman Seth Jones to a 6-year deal. So look at it that way. He's a good piece of the puzzle there for them. He's still young for the most part. You know, he's not necessarily in the prime of his career anymore, I'd say, but he's still a young player. So, I mean, I'm sorry, thinking of somebody else. He's 21, so he's absolutely in the prime of his career.
Yeah, maybe not even reached it yet. But more on Stamkos. So he's spent his whole career with the Lightning. He's been there 8 years now. He was drafted number 1 overall by them in 2008.
Yes.
He scored 312 goals in 569 games, which is
Stamkos
only
is pretty
second.
good.
Which is only second to the Washington Capitals star Alex Ovechkin, who scored 362 goals over that same 569 games. So
yeah, Stamkos is a pretty good player,
and he means a lot to their team. They fell one game short of reaching the Stanley Cup Finals, ended up losing to the Penguins, who won the Stanley Cup in 7 games there in the Eastern Conference Finals. So re-signing Stamkos, huge for the Lightning, because if he were to reach the market, there were a number of teams that were interested in him. So teams like the Maple Leafs, Detroit Red Wings, Buffalo Sabres, Bruins, Vancouver Canucks, and the Montreal Canadiens were expected to be in the Steven Stamkos sweepstakes to try and get the captain up there. So
yeah, and he's excited to be back for, quote, 8 more years of Tampa Bay Lightning hockey. So he's pretty excited. Like you said, they did fall to the Penguins in 7 games. Tampa Bay was probably the closest of all of his, closest legitimate contender, I suppose, to the Stanley Cup of those teams that were kind of going to go after him if he made it to free agency. So it's definitely something to hold your hat on if you're a fan of the Lightning. It's definitely a good signing to keep one of the best players in hockey on the team.
And you can really take a lot of stress off your shoulders when you know you got this deal out of the way. You were worried for so long about him being a free agent, not getting an extension done, the thought of him maybe leaving your franchise. Now you can take all that weight off your shoulders knowing he's here for the next 8 years, and you can sort of move on to try and build more pieces to the puzzle in free agency here as you build to try and get back to the prime, get back to the Stanley Cup Finals. You fell 1 game short of Pittsburgh. Now you can take that weight of Stamkos off your shoulders and build to try and reach the ultimate goal, which is win the Stanley Cup.
He's definitely a player to build around too. Like I said, one of the best in all of the NHL.
Yeah, one of the greatest goal scorers in the league this year. So
hands down.
Meaning that he re-signs with them is huge for Tampa Bay.
Yeah, let alone just for him. Staying with a team that he's known for his entire career. It's definitely somewhere just more room to grow. They're a good young team. They really are.
Yeah, definitely. And obviously we mentioned the blockbuster trade as well, so that the shape up there of the 2 defensemen, the 2 Canadians, we'll have to see how that plays out for each team.
And unless they look for some candidates outside of their own team, they only really have to re-sign their restricted free agent Nikita Kucherov. I mean, a pretty good postseason, I should say, because Stamkos was hurt. So, there's a speculation that they might want to trade a goalie, but maybe Bishop. But yeah, they're kind of in a solid.
Ben Bishop.
Yeah, there you go, Ben. They're kind of in a good spot otherwise. So that's how you look at it.
They're definitely going to be one of the favorites still, especially in the Eastern Conference Finals.
I would put them up there. Yeah,
to get to the Stanley Cup, they're still a great team, and
they have to get past reigning champ Pittsburgh Penguins if they meet them again. So
yeah, Pittsburgh had a great. We talked about it on the previous episode of the show. They really turned it around, having made coaching changes there in December, weren't even a playoff team, and then like the flip of a switch, just become Stanley Cup champs.
Yeah, there you go, man. It's a crazy world we live in.
It is.
We're going to take one last break here, you guys. And we're going to come back with some what we call quick hitters. We call what's trending in the world. So
a lot of good, interesting ones here.
Yeah, Ben's found some sweet ones, man.
I try.
It's okay. I mean, you succeeded. So we'll be right back here at the Golden State Media Concepts Sports Podcast. You guys don't go anywhere. Please.
Please.
Please don't.
Always on the go, but the day just won't be one without your Hollywood fix. Let Golden State Media Concepts Entertainment Podcast take care of that. Jordan and Keith is Entertainment Tonight meets Access Hollywood.
I'm Jordan. The guy laughing, that's Keith.
Yeah, I'm Keith.
An all-inclusive look of pop culture.
Hey, guys.
I love that little jazz at the end there.
Man, just end so abruptly, though. We are back here in the Golden State Media Concepts Sports Podcast. We'll do a little quick update on some stuff. So the College Baseball World Series, in which we talked about prior, is currently in the third inning.
Bottom of the third.
Still no score.
This is the decisive game.
Yeah, we did see Arizona come out to a pretty good win there for them in Game 1, and then Coastal Carolina came and just turned it right back around on them to win Game 2. And forced it to a Game 3. Like I said, I did pick Coastal Carolina to win Game 2 because they had done it a few times.
They're undefeated in elimination games.
Yeah, this World Series, well, at least these playoffs. So
Game 3 was rained out last night.
Yes,
unfortunately, they're having to play Game 3 right at 1 Eastern time, so they're top of the fourth now as we head to. But really, people that are at work, they can't really watch it. Unfortunately, not that prime time slot. So
yeah, it's just you and I.
But yeah,
it's just you and I, man. But that's okay. We'll bring it to the people. To the people. So moving on from college baseball, we have some Wimbledon news. Some updates here on some of the matches that happened today or the last couple of days. Actually, some upsets, as a matter of fact, Ben. So David Ferrer, who is the world ranked number 13, actually lost to Nicolas Mahut in straight sets to an unranked player.
Mahut, if you remember, with John Isner, the record game there a few years back at Wimbledon.
Yes, sir. Another just easy victory there for Novak Djokovic, who won in straight sets against Adrian Manarino. And then there was one other pretty handed victory as well, which would be Federer over the man that you and I talked about the other day. He retired from tennis, came back, played. He actually lost in straight sets as well.
Did you actually hear about what he did? So he was actually wearing like all of Roger Federer's clothes, like his clothing line when he played him. Like he was talking about how it was
That's
an
all
honor.
He had, yeah.
It was an honor to play him. Like he was of course going to try his best, but he knew he was outmatched, and like he able to like meet Roger Federer. Kind of like obviously he's a professional player and he's playing in the competition, but kind of like a pickup game almost. Some more info here. Venus Williams wins in 3 sets, so she advances in the second round. We've had a lot of rain here at Wimbledon, so a lot of these matches haven't even gotten finished yet. So
a couple more upsets, even in the women's side here as well. So Sabine Lisicki out of Germany did defeat number 14 in the world out of Australia, Samantha Stosur. So she did win that game. The number 7 in the world, Belinda Bencic, she, out of Sweden, lost to American Julia Boserup in straight sets. And this is a fun one to say. Yaroslava Shvedova.
There you go.
Out of Russia, I believe. I'm really bad with flags. She beat, I don't know no clue where she's from, beat 17 in the world, Alina Svitolina. So, pretty good. But I would say the biggest of the day in terms of upsets is number 2 in the world, Garbine Muguruza.
I was just going to mention that. Yeah, the winner of the French Open.
She lost in straight sets to unranked Jana Sepalova. So just a week, if not a couple days in a row of just some...
Right off the bat.
Yeah, heavy-handed upsets.
Second round, too.
Yeah, we did see number 3 in the world win, and Angelique Kerber, number 4 in the world, did win in straight sets over American this is a hard name. Varvara Lepchenko from America, keep in mind.
She's got to have some sort of Ukrainian or Russian in her. So.
Yeah, exactly. But, just rounding out the top 5 and 6, you also have Yingying Duan out of China losing in straight sets to number 6 in the world out of Italy, Roberta Vinci. So just keeping an eye on Wimbledon, of course, updating you guys on the happenings there. Ben, let's start with our fun new segment that we decided to do today, trending topics.
So real quick before we get into trending, it kind of ties in
what else
because
you
we're gonna do soccer, world football. So Jan Vertonghen from Belgium, they're currently in the quarterfinals of the Euro 2016. They're getting ready to play Wales tomorrow on Friday. Big matchup. Jan Vertonghen, the left back for Belgium.
I say don't forget the Portugal game today, are there?
Oh, yeah, Portugal-Poland getting kicked off in about an hour from now, so I'll have to look into that. But Jan Vertonghen, he plays left back for the Belgian national team, plays center back in the Premier League for Tottenham Hotspur. He is out with torn ankle ligaments. He's out 6 to 8 weeks. That's a huge loss for Belgium. Definitely a good player. And also Eden Hazard, the left winger midfielder for Belgium, is going to most likely be doubtful for that game against Wales with a thigh injury. He's been their best player of the tournament. He leads the tournament with 3 assists, man of the match in their last game against Hungary. So it's big against a team like Wales who has one of the best in the world with Gareth Bale.
Yeah, no, he's a good player. Gareth Bale, of course, one of the best in the world. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes.
All right, so to jump into our quick trending now, quick hitter segment, Alex, this is going to be great news for you, being a Manchester United fan.
That's me.
Zlatan Ibrahimovic, we talked about him a lot on the Soccer Podcast. He is basically, everyone knows he's going to go to Manchester United, but today he officially announced on Instagram he is going to Old Trafford. So
the world we live in.
Ibrahimovic says, "Time to let the world know. My next destination is at Manchester United. # I am coming." So great for Man United to get one of the best strikers really ever, a legend of the game, the Swedish international, former international now. He's calling it quits after they were eliminated from the Euros. But he's 34 years old, so really just a one-year deal, Alex, I would think. More so as in my opinion, what's going to help them, he's a great player, obviously, but for the future, he's going to help mentor the younger generation of Man United football with people like Marcus Rashford, Anthony Martial, those people that play up front there, maybe Memphis Depay as well. So he's won the league title 9 out of the last 10 years, won it the last 3 years with PSG in the French league. He's going to obviously come in. He has that history with Jose Mourinho, who's the new manager. They used to play together at Inter Milan. So Ibrahimovic now a Red Devil.
All right. Moving on to some other news. The People's Star gets his own star. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
Oh, that was a good one.
Thank you. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is finally getting a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. For those of you who know The Rock, he will be introduced into the Walk of Fame class 2017, including members Chris Pratt, Jason Bateman, Tyra Banks, Hugh Laurie, Sarah Silverman, the group Hall & Oates rapper and former NWA frontman Ice Cube, Justin Timberlake's famous boy band NSYNC, and Mind Freak Chris Angel. The Rock will join Vince McMahon, who has a star located not far from his as well, on 6801 Hollywood Boulevard. For those of you who do know The Rock, he climbed to fame as WWE superstar. The Rock first started as Rocky Maivia. But Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson has since become a full-time movie star, starring in such films as the Fast and Furious series. He is currently doing movies more so on the funny side as well, with Criminal Intelligence with Kevin Hart.
Central Intelligence.
Central Intelligence, Criminal Intelligence. So funny. Central Intelligence. He, of course, like I said, was in the Fast and the Furious. He did his own movie, San Andreas. He is in the Tooth Fairy, Game Plan, a very good movie, Gridiron Gang. So he's currently slated to star as the main villain in DC movie is following the superhero Shazam. So something that I'm looking forward to very heavily there. Everybody knows The Rock, so it's awesome to see that he finally gets his star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, considering that people like, no offense to Chris Pratt, I'm a big fan of Chris Pratt. He hasn't been around as long as The Rock. Jason Bateman, on the other hand, Tyra Banks, Hugh Laurie, Hall & Oates. I'm surprised it took them that long, Ice Cube. So it's good to see that he's finally getting a star.
I love The Rock. I was a big WWE guy, really in the prime. It was him and Stone Cold who were the top two guys. The Rock always did great promos, great talker. I've always been a big fan of The Rock. And now you mentioned he's just turned into, I'd say, even more of a movie star than he was a wrestler. People sometimes that the younger generation don't even remember him as the wrestler, remember him as just an actor.
Exactly.
So The Rock, definitely great for him to get a star there on the Walk of Fame, and I'd say it's deserved. Yeah,
definitely. And I'm still happy about that introduction, man. The People's Star getting his own star. I like that.
That was a good one.
What else we got?
So Mavericks Perry Ellis, he got an endorsement deal.
The Dallas Mavericks.
Yes, Dallas Mavericks Perry Ellis. He got himself an endorsement deal. He's former Kansas Jayhawk. He's a rookie. got an endorsement deal recently. Do you know any guess who it could be?
No.
It's not, the people you would think, the Nikes, the
Under
Adidas, Under Armours of the world.
Champion.
He signed with Perry Ellis Clothing.
Is there somebody that happens to have the same name that's a very well-known clothing line?
No.
So it's his own line.
Yes.
Okay.
So he's on his own clothing line.
And you can't say that you signed an endorsement. You chose to rep your own clothing line.
I mean,
okay?
it looks like a great line. So in the picture, he's wearing like a blue button-up with white polka dots. He looks like a very presentable young man. He looks really nice.
Okay, well, I mean, that's good.
So he was not drafted, but he's going to be playing for the Mavericks Orlando Summer League team. So hopefully he can come on there. He was one of Kansas's best players last year as they fell in the tournament there to
March
Villanova. But so yeah, he's giving a meeting to the whole company of Barry Perry.
That's in the name.
He's his own guy.
Wow.
Perry Ellis. Endorsement with Perry Ellis.
Well, you know what? I have seen weirder things. As a matter of fact, I'm about to share weirder. And our last little tidbit, I believe, yeah?
Yes.
Last tidbit of trending news. And this is something that just shows you the world that we live in nowadays. The minor league baseball team, Ben, fill me in again. What's the name? The Whitecaps, right?
Yes, the
Whitecaps. The
Whitecaps.
Class A Tiger affiliate, West Michigan Whitecaps. No relation to the MLS team in Vancouver. They will be wearing, as far as you maybe know, for the fans of minor league teams or those that have them in their city like we do, they often have certain nights,
Theme
Star
nights.
Wars nights. The Rivercats out here, who are now the AAA affiliate of the Giants, they had a really cool one. Was Fight for the Cure night, which is cool. But you see a lot of teams have Irish Heritage Night, things like that. Well, it is called Social Media Night, and the Whitecaps will be wearing a completely white jersey with their regular logo on the front, accompanied by every iPhone emoji known to the world. And on the back, instead of names, unless this is just for the picture, it says #WCaps. So
that's going to be tonight.
yeah, that is
for
tonight.
Game.
It's Social Media Night presented by Little River Casino Resort. There you go. You gave you guys a little shout out for those who know what Little River Casino Resort is. But yeah, these things are disgusting.
Look at the jersey.
This won't be the first time the teams donned these jerseys the emojis on their uniform. The Kalamazoo Growlers actually gave fans the opportunity to vote for their favorite emojis to appear on uniforms last year. So not the first time a team has done this. This is weird. The Whitecaps, they're not really giving their fans a choice, but that's okay because the Whitecaps sold a burger in 2009 to Fan Appreciation that was 2.5 pounds. It is a burger that was bigger than most humans' heads. It had bacon. It had 3 patties. It had tomatoes. It had Fritos. It had ranch dressing across it. It had 2 big sesame buns. It looks more like somebody put buns on a steak. So, yeah, these things are gross.
Yeah, they definitely look very creative, but
coming from what the AAA normally does, where they do they did Nickelodeon Night, right? A team wore, which I love this show, but a team wore Rugrats, right?
I saw that.
They wore what Chucky's outfit was, so they had the blue jersey or what a purple shirt he had, and those ugly green pants as their pants. I wish the Rivercats did it cool. They were Rocket Power, and this year, I forget what they're supposed to be. I think it's Hey Arnold or something.
What do you think of these minor league teams doing this?
This is so weird.
I personally, while this jersey might be pretty ugly and disgusting looking, I love the idea because, one, it gets fans to go out there because they're going to, oh, wow, they're wearing
ugly jerseys.
They're wearing this, social media emoji jerseys, or they're wearing Nickelodeon jerseys, or I know the Giants, San Jose Giants, have done tie-dye before and Hawaiian shirt. So it gets people to go out there oh, wow, it's like Star Wars night. I'm a huge Star Wars guy. Maybe they'll throw out
That's next Saturday actually with Rivercats.
Maybe you'll see someone dressed up as Darth Vader or something. Mm-hmm. So I think it's a great idea because it increases people to maybe go to your games, and it's fun. It's
I saw one that was literally 100% forced camouflage from head to toe. And people, the jokes didn't stop. They're like, that's weird that they would start a game without anybody on the field, making all the camouflage jokes. I don't see who's up to bat. Are they what are they doing? So, yeah, minor league teams are very, very, very weird.
They're really creative with how they do these, too.
I mean, this is creative, something to look at in that sense. So, that's kind of cool, I guess. But, hey, that's all we got. I'm glad to end on something fun, though. That was good.
Definitely, I like that.
So, Ben and I would like to say, first off, before all of our little things, actually, you know what? We'll say it last. So, Ben, where can they find us?
They can find us on Instagram and Twitter at GSMC_sports. If you are on Twitter, make sure you use the hashtag GSMC Podcast Network to communicate with us with anything through the show, whether it's constructive criticism, something you like, something you don't like, asking a question, etc. Use GSMC Podcast Network. Use that hashtag. You can find us on YouTube, GSMC Podcast Network. Put your hashtags up. You can find us on things like SoundCloud, Stitcher, Google Play, Podbay.fm, iTunes. The list goes on and on. GSMCpodcast.com is our main website where the network is. You can find all the podcasts on that website. There's so many of them to choose from.
Indeed, Ben, you say that better than anybody there is. So,
I try, man.
So, Ben and I would like to say have a safe 4th of July weekend to those of you who are traveling and spending time at waterfronts or, so have you.
Barbecues, whatever you're
doing. Have a good weekend. Have a safe travel weekend. We do know it's dangerous out there, so we just want to extend our safe wishes and best wishes to those participating and partaking in the 4th of July festivities. As always, I am Alex.
And I am Ben. And real quick before we leave, a huge shout out. We have a birthday boy. We have Mike Tyson turning 50 today.
Whoa.
So happy birthday to Mike Tyson.
Wow, that's amazing.
The big 5-0.
Wow, 50 years old.
Yep.
I remember when he bit that guy's ear off like it was nothing. Holyfield's ear has never been the same.
Hasn't.
Well, again, as always, I'm Alex, joined by my faithful co-host, Ben. And we'd like to thank you guys for listening. We'd like to, again, to wish you a safe and happy weekend and holiday. And we will see you guys on Tuesday.
Have a good week, guys. Bye.